What's up, guys? I'm gonna go ahead and do a video that none of y'all asked me for. Someone mentioned, one time, one of my friends, like, hey, you should do a video on kind of like a garage tour. And I'm working on 3 other videos right now, but currently I'm stuck waiting on parts. So I'm working on a video for the turbo, working on the video for fabricating the floor hole and the transmission mount, and I'm working on a video for the exhaust, but that also kind of has to do with the turbo. So I'm stuck. I'm waiting on parts to get here. That way I can finish those videos up and then I can start just putting stuff out, because it's been a while and I haven't been staying with the videos because there's just always something. You either need parts or time or just one or the other. So to kind of fill in the space, I want to show you my garage setup, how I managed to do so much with this vehicle in essentially a 530 square foot space. Up here in the corner of the screen, I'll post a picture of my actual garage specs from when I bought the house. It's a slightly bigger than a 2-car garage. It does have a tiny bit of extra space on both sides of it if you look at the garage door over there, but it's pretty average. But where you do gain your space is over here. I do have this about half car pocket. However, you got to go up, a floor hump to get into this area, and this was kind of like a workbench area in which I use it as. But this did give me enough extra space that I could fit a 25-foot crew cab dually in here and actually still be able to work. If it wasn't for this space, there's no way this truck would have fit in this garage, or even my old garage, which I can actually post up a picture here in this corner. Before, I had just a regular standard 2-car garage at my old house, and this truck would have never went in it. I do keep some of my tools in storage. I have an English wheel that I hardly ever use, but I own it, so I keep that in storage. That way we can have more space. But I will just give you kind of the tour of how I'm able to manage the space, modifications that I have done to the garage to make the garage more usable, and kind of which ones were actually worth the money, because some of them definitely were worth the money. And the first modification, this is actually the garage door of the house, and as soon as you come through the garage door on my toolbox, you can see right here I have a thermostat, and it is 77.2 degrees in my garage. Now, that is not freezing. My nose isn't running because I'm so cold, but it's about 105 outside with insane humidity. I'm in Houston, Texas. We just had a storm yesterday. So the feels like is 105 right now, or 103, somewhere around there. So to be 77 inside my garage, that's huge. And the reason for that, and probably the best thing I have spent money on this whole time, is I spent $630 on a portable Honeywell air conditioning system that I can kind of roll into the corner. And that's over here. You're probably going to hear some AC noise, but we have this small AC unit that is running. It's set to about 72. You can see I have the heat plumbed out to the front of the garage, and I'll post a picture kind of right here how I have the vent set up on the outside so the HOA doesn't flip out. But that's just down here in this corner. And then I use a couple fans like this one up here, which I can swivel. It's got a remote and I can kind of aim it, and I use another one in the corner over here on the other side of the garage. Just a cheap little fan. And what those do is, with the AC, and those aim the direction they are, it circulates the air around the garage. Now, does that help? I'm not 100% sure. It seems to get a little cooler when I have those running, and I have them kind of running low right now because I don't want them to make a ton of noise that's going to end up in the video camera, because this camera is sensitive and it picks up a lot of that. Another thing you'll notice is there is a lot of light in my garage. I don't think I spent a ton of money on this, but early on in the videos I went from having just this regular light when you come into the garage. It came with the house, and I put up these cheap LED strips from Amazon, and it was like 4 of them in a pack for maybe like $60, and you can see them up there with the wiring, and they're wired to the same plug that my garage door opener is on, just a little 3-way outlet. But then I have this little remote that I bought, like a little kind of on and off switch, so I don't have to reach up there because that outlet's hot all the time. There's no switch to it, and I can just hit the button on there and it turns all the auxiliary lights on. So when I'm not working in here, this normal overhead is usually on, and this is what I used to always work with. And then this little remote turns on all the extra LEDs, in which makes it to where I can see. I would still probably add a tiny bit more light. I like a ton of light. I want mental institution brightness in my garage as bright as possible, because you can even see over here, just from the video camera, it is getting darker depending on which way I aim, because I only have one LED on this side of the garage because I don't do a lot of work on this side of the garage. The bulk of the work is kind of on the right side of my garage. We put in a bunch of these Home Depot storage racks. I got 2 of them and then a slightly smaller one over there that is a little bit older. Just kind of holds, you know, different levels of things from, let's try to get out of the fan here. Actually, I'm just gonna turn that off so you can hear me. But, you know, cleaning products, different lubricants and stuff for engines, a bunch of paint stuff, and then just kind of miscellaneous. Over here we have a full random shelf, some of my kids' stuff, different parts that still need to go on the truck, tools for the truck, body working tools down there. And then of course you can see my floor is kind of a wreck right now. That's part of the exhaust video I'm working on, part of the turbo video I'm working on, the transmission that I still have not got rid of, but it is up for sale. I'm just trying to get it out of the garage. And then we have a shelf of parts I've pulled off of the truck, parts that came off my LS truck, some more random stuff like a heater, not that I need that in Texas, it's always hot here. And then kind of over here is my toolbox. Now my toolbox is nothing special. We are not running like the Snap-on, and I hate these tall boxes. I'm right at about 6 foot tall, and with this thing up on this ledge, I cannot see in those top 3 drawers. I have to stay on my tippy toes almost to see what's in there. So they're all labeled with these little magnetic strips, you know, pliers and everything, screwdriving, you know, the different screwdrivers and torques, drill bits, files, some other random tools, different drilling things, Allen wrenches. And then we get into just normal wrenches and metric, standard, and they're all labeled really well. This is kind of my miscellaneous weird stuff you buy drawer, you know, like a Cummins tool for the timing cover to set the seal into it, just random tools that you end up with. Socket drawers, standard and metric, hammers, pry bars, things like that. All the impact stuff and 1/2-inch stuff. All my different air tools that you have. And then different electric tools, grinders, sawzalls, lights, different blades for the cutoff wheel. And then down there is my 1/2-inch impact. And then some of my other like drills and things and chargers, a metal bender. So I mean, I got tools everywhere. I got this Hobart. This is kind of like the fab area corner. So I have my 60-gallon air compressor. I have my Hobart. It's a 187 handler. I got that in 07. That thing still works like the day I got it. It's got tons of use on it, and it is an amazing welder. If you're ever looking for a welder, I've had really good luck with this Hobart. This is my new Eastwood TIG that y'all saw whenever I got the fuel cell that I used to TIG weld the fitting onto the fuel cell for the return line on the Cummins injection line, the injection return. My 60-gallon shock compressor, which I've had for a long time. I don't use it as much. I run more battery operated tools. And then the TIG table with my downpipe, in which I have stopped on because I'm changing something that's going to require me changing that. But this is kind of my little welding fab area. I can also hook my metal bender to this table. And then you can see I have like an engine stand, some miscellaneous down there, grinder, just different things hidden along the wall, stuff that I would love to get out of here. And I'm getting a small shed soon, so I can hopefully move this bike rack out, this spare tire out. and just get a couple things out of here that don't need to be in here. Now usually it looks like I have a ton of extra space down here, which I could have kept my English wheel, but usually I keep my trash cans in here to keep my HOA from flipping out. So if I could get something better to hide my trash cans, I would love not keeping them in the garage, but my HOA is kind of a pain. So I still got to figure that out. We have our engine hoist, in which we use constantly on this truck. And then you can see the truck is being used as storage as well to help kind of keep parts in. But it kind of allows me to have a ton of space in here when really I don't have a ton of space in here. I mean, it is not a big garage at all. Like I said, it's about 530 square feet, maybe closer to 500. The AC is for 700 square feet. Like I said, it keeps it a cool 77 right now during the Texas like kind of peak heat season, but it's not bad. One thing that I know, I'm sure you've seen in a lot in the videos, is I have these two TVs in here. Those are tied to a small computer down there on the floor. And I have a keyboard and mouse on my kind of random junk toolbox in here. This is a lot of wiring stuff from back when I used to do car audio, zip ties, just random things I need throughout the build. But this computer is just pretty much so I can watch YouTube. The reason for the two screens, because I know that probably seems silly, is if I am working on the engine this direction and I'm looking up a wire schematic on the TV, it's a pain to turn around and look behind me and drop everything I'm doing, so I can just look over my shoulder at that one and see it. I know that seems silly, but I didn't pay anything for these TVs. Well, I've had this one for a long time. This one was in my living room. They needed a home, so I stuck them in here. Neither of them are great TVs, but for what I'm using them for, they are perfect. They are super helpful. And if I had to say, hey, spend some money and buy TVs and just a junk computer for your garage, I would say spend some money and buy a junk computer and some TVs for your garage, because that is a useful kind of thing that you never realize you need, but man, it's so handy just to be able to turn around, type something into Google, search parts, search wiring schematics, and then also just pure entertainment. My mind wanders easy, so to have background music, things like that, it is really helpful having the TVs in the garage, even from just an entertainment standpoint. Over here, you can see my electrical box is open. I have been doing some modifications to my electrical. You can see I have garage AC and garage 120. I have added, I still need to find a screw for that, but I've added a separate 120 for like grinders and heavy tools, because every plug in my garage runs on the same tiny 15 amp breaker, I found out. So I needed something to split things off on. So I gave the AC its own 120 amp or 120 volt with a 20 amp breaker, and I have this plug in which I can run grinders and my chop saw and different big tools on without tripping the breaker in my garage. Now all of this other stuff is running off that other breaker, and that's not great. Well, not the welders. The welders also have their own breaker, and so does the air compressor, but like all the TVs and everything and the chargers and all that stuff run off that 15 amp, which isn't ideal, but as little as I use like the chargers, I can easily shut the chargers down and, you know, just not use them. But I guess really what the whole tour is about, I know some of y'all see in the background kind of what's going on in my garage. It is a standard 2-car garage. I'll post a picture of, well, I'm not gonna post a picture of my house for security reasons. You know, I don't like putting my stuff out there like that, but I will post a picture of what my regular front of my house garage door area looks like. And you can see I'm working in the average garage that you get when you buy most houses, at least here in Texas. It's just a standard 2-car garage that just happens to have a little bit extra of a pocket, in which I'm very fortunate. If I didn't have this pocket, well, hopefully I wouldn't have had a crew cab dually, but I had a smaller truck before and it fit in here awesome. And what I was gonna do with the smaller truck is I have enough roof height where if I had lifted the garage door tracks over there a little bit higher, so the garage door gets up close to the roof, you can actually fit a mid-height lift in here. That's not gonna happen with the dually because this thing's way too heavy. But man, if you had like a sports car or something to spend, let's say $2,000 on a mid-height lift that you can actually take the lift arms and put them up against the wall when you're not using them, this garage can go a long way with a little bit of money. To date, between the air conditioner, the fans, the TVs and everything, I mean, all that stuff is maybe $1,000 worth of stuff. One thing that I spent big money on when I bought the house, and I will shout out the person that did it, my friend Ben.Belk of North Houston Garage Experts epoxied this floor with their own special epoxy, and I'll post a picture of what the garage looked like when it was all clean and new before I started beating the hell out of it. That was $2,000, I want to say, or close to $2,000. I got a deal because he is my friend, but I know on average you're kind of looking within that realm to do the floor. That is some of the best money I've ever spent, aside from just being able to clean up spills easy, dropping hammers. This stuff is tough. But what it also did is it helps seal the garage floor, and it helps keep it way cooler in here. My garage, if I shut off the AC, I shut off all the fans, gets up to maybe 88 degrees max. And that is because I have a insulated garage door and this epoxy floor, and most of my walls have insulation behind them aside from one. So 88 max is not bad, and it means basically the AC doesn't have to do a ton of work to get it cool in here. So big shout out to Garage Experts North Houston. This floor has been fantastic. I will always, no matter which house I buy, I will always do an epoxy floor before I move everything into it. That is by far worth the money. I don't want this video to run too long. We're already at like 16 minutes here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here, since I ended up doing like a toolbox tour along kind of in there and the garage tour. But I just wanted to throw a video up, just, you know, because I'm kind of stuck. I'm waiting on parts. This is just kind of an offshoot video of, hey, this is what I'm working with. If you're just a regular guy in his garage, you can do the stuff I'm doing if you manage your space wisely. And I'm not saying I'm managing my space wisely. I'm not saying do what I did, because I could probably do this 10 times better, but my mind is not focused on making the garage better currently. It's focused on, let's get this truck done and driving. I could even have done this more like a showroom, but the problem is I use my garage way too much to do a showroom style garage. I have lots of parts, lots of tools. If I could, at the next house, hopefully I'll have a shop in which I can keep a lot of the tools at, and the garage will be more of a showroom style garage for the vehicles that are in it, and the work will be done inside the shop. But yeah, this is all something that anybody could do as long as you have a 2-car garage and have the space to do it. You can, I'm hoping I'm even gonna paint this truck in here, and I will show how I set up a temporary paint booth. And again, it's not ideal. I would much rather paint in a professional booth, especially like a downdraft booth if I could. But if I don't have that option, I will show you how I plan on doing that in this small of an area, and also ventilate it to get, you know, the paint fumes out and not get too much, you know, spray dropping everywhere on the car. But yeah, that's it for today. Appreciate y'all guys watching. Hopefully we'll have some new videos up with some exciting news as far as like the turbo goes. I've just decided to change some things kind of last minute that needed to be done, but I wasn't planning on doing them now. So they're ordered, they're on their way. There should be some videos up soon getting back to the truck. This was just kind of a little small video that is taken way too long to show kind of the best use of a small area to basically have a full shop in. So I hope y'all guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe to the channel. If y'all have any other video ideas that y'all want to see out of me, let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.